As he was walking to synagogue, a rabbi known for his long sermons bumped into a congregant who asked him, "So, Rabbi, what are you talking about today?" "Ah," said the rabbi, "I will teach how to praise God with the milk of human kindness." "Condensed, I hope," said the congregant. "I guess a condensed Passover message could be wrapped up as most Jewish stories. They tried to kill us, we survived, let's feast, or sometimes fast." So how does one condense what Passover means when it means so much? Passover, the 8-day festival of no leavened products, this year commences on the 19th of April. The Haggadah is the narrative of slavery and liberation recited at festive meals. Two strands of memory compete for supremacy, a flashback to degradation and a flashback to salvation. The Passover narrative, first recited by Jews some 3,200 years ago, traces a vigorous and tenacious line across the mesh and maze of human life and the anguish of our ancestors. Reciting the Haggadah has been an unbroken and stirring feature of the Jewish drama. It jogs us to the solid reality that anti-Semitism has awoken, is mainstream, is unpacking its menace again, as are other forms of incitement again. The human species is equipped with a sense of compassion and a compass of clemency, yet we can be vengeful and intemperate and merciless. Scottish Enlightenment philosopher David Hume put it best: "Man is the worst enemy of man. We are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Thus we cannot let down our guard. Fanaticism and racism, repugnance for the outsider, are but a slim step away." A naive sense of security is not a privilege we can indulge in. In 1848, a Berlin rabbi, Ehrenburg, published a Passover narrative from which he omitted the line, "This year we are slaves, may next year see us free." The rabbi asked, "How can I continue to recite that line in sincerity when it is so obvious that the Jews of Germany are no longer enslaved, that we have gained our freedom?" And yet, it is easy to be conditioned by bigotry, so that we accept bigotry as a way of life, conditioned by intolerance, so that we accept intolerance as a way of life, conditioned by baseless hatred, so that we accept baseless hatred as a way of life. We know the consequences of dehumanizing the other. When a race or a people is spoken of as trash or parasitic and is characterized as trash or parasitic, it comes to be treated as trash or parasitic. Racism and violence start with words of incitement, leading to the release of our inner demons. We must call people out when they hate what they do not understand. Yet there is an alternative. Our response to the unfamiliar does not have to end in hostility, hatred, and horror. Hermann Goering was the founder of the Nazi Gestapo. In 1941, Hitler appointed Goering as his successor. Albert Goering was Hermann's brother. From childhood, Hermann and Albert were different. Hermann was arrogant and obsessed with war games. Albert was shy, retiring, pensive. While Hermann quickly rose through the ranks of the Nazi Party, Albert was determined to assist Jews. He once came upon a group of Nazis who had hung a sign around the neck of an elderly Jewess. The sign read, "I am a Jewish sow." Albert punched Gestapo officers and saved the woman from the thugs. when SS officers checked his papers, they noted his name and escorted him away in deference to his brother. Repeatedly, Albert saved Jewish lives. Repeatedly, Hermann cut down Jewish lives. Entire families owe their destruction to Hermann Goering. Entire families owe their salvation to Albert Goering. Albert's life demonstrates that it is our choices that define us, not our biology or childhood or schooling. Historians have pointed out that they have not found a single case of anyone being threatened with death for refusing to take part in the Holocaust. And yet, thousands gave in to toxic hate and a frenzied racist orgy. Our choice. Passover stresses that despotism and tyranny and oppression move in hushed tiptoes, silently, softly, skillfully, conditioning us to autocratic dictates, drip by drip, until we are too chained to unchain ourselves. Freedom must be linked to mission, to vigilance, to vision. English author and social critic Os Guinness, in his book A Free People's Suicide, warns that freedom cannot long endure unless it is consecrated to purposes beyond itself. We possess little control over situations that surround us, but we have control over our response. This is the great freedom this festival highlights. Freedom of choice, freedom to choose our purpose and life pursuits, graced by generosity or plagued by enmity, our choice. Or as author Isaac Bashevis Singer put it, we must believe in freedom of choice. We have no other choice. The story of Passover reminds us that we tasted the fidelity of freedom on liberation from Egypt. Our pledge to God still stands. The sparks of our liberation are incapable of being extinguished. They will not be compromised. They will not be hushed. They will not be rattled. They will not be subdued, despite the rampant rage and sickness of anti-Semites. No Pandora's box of hatred can deny us the covenant we affirmed at the foot of Mount Sinai 50 days after our liberation from Egypt. Our prophets unveiled a vision of our story which foresaw that despite it all, we would still be here. Our prophets unveiled a compelling vision of world redemption saturated in sanctified messianic peace and tranquility. Our wait has been long. Our saga has been long. We have long longed for the hallowed messianic era, for justice and dignity and conciliation for all decent peoples. This is the enduring mandate of Passover, and in faith, we soothe the wounds of old and current adversities, trusting to reverse the word evil to read live. On behalf of the Jewish community, I take this annual opportunity to wish all Christians a very peaceful Easter, full of happiness, hope, and health. To you all, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Hag Sameach, Shalom.